Hello, English 111 students, and welcome to week 8. This is the last week of the semester, and I hope you're ready to finish up strong. So, what we're looking at here today is the a message that I just sent out to you this morning. It's the final week preparation. You'll need to complete this week the E7 Literary Analysis Outline. That's the essay outline. Follow the instructions in that Blackboard assignment. E8 is the literary analysis essay instructions and resources. We're going to look at that here in a second, make sure I go over that, and hope that you understand exactly what you're doing there with that assignment. E9 is the MLA review. That's a Connect Smart Book assignment where you'll, just like a quiz assignment, you'll go through and review again MLA procedures. Again, I've reduced the concepts there, so it's not real long. E10 this week is the literary analysis essay peer review, and this time it's for extra credit. So you don't have to complete that assignment. You will not be penalized for not doing it. It is an extra credit assignment. That's E10, the peer review. And what you get extra credit for is posting your draft and responding to two other classmates on the discussion board. That's how you get the extra credit. E12 this week is the final draft of the essay. So in that folder, you'll see that there's the link to submit that final draft, and there's also a link or a couple links for Jaguar tutoring portal. Make sure that you use those or use those resources that are available to you. They can get back to you really quickly. If you submit that essay, let's say Wednesday, they can get back to you by Thursday. You can have those corrections done by Friday and submit it Sunday. It can happen that fast. They're really good at Jaguar Writing the tutoring center. The last thing that you have to do this week and for the semester is F1. It's the final reflection and course feedback, and it's just a form that you fill out telling me about your performance during the semester and anything you might change in the future. I do want to remind you that your GPS, your grammar, punctuation, and style activities are going to be due Friday. You don't have until Sunday to do those, so remember that. What I want to do really though is kind of take a look at the assignment. Let's see, the literary analysis essay assignment instructions, E8. So let's go to modules and then we'll roll down to the E module and we'll look at E8 literary analysis essay instructions. Again, what you're doing here is demonstrating that you've continued to use the steps in the writing process to produce a polished final draft. This essay requires you to use the critical thinking skills to analyze a text. So what you're going to do is analyze one of the stories or both of the stories that I've assigned to you, the Edgar Allan Poe stories, The Telltale Heart and the Cask of Amontillado. You may analyze both of them and talk about how they're similar, or you may analyze just one of them and talk about the theme and the characters or any of the amount of things that are assigned later down here that says you could talk about. So read through this instruction. Look at the sample essays below. Use the criteria section below. This says use your outline, but again, this was set up during a 16-week semester when these assignments were 2 weeks apart. Again, you're doing this in an 8-week semester, so you're covering that same amount of information in 1 week. So I won't be able to give you feedback on the outline right away. Then it says to follow the instructions. So what you're doing is you're going to analyze and also persuade. Your audience is a general audience, meaning they need to understand when there are specified terms you're using, something they may not understand. You're looking for a 750 to 1,000 words. Your works cited page does not count toward your word count. The sources you must use, 1 to 2 primary sources. So one or both of the short stories that I've assigned to you. You have to use one of those at least. You may use both of those. No other stories will be accepted, just those 2 short stories by Poe. Then you've got to find 2 to 3 secondary sources of scholarly literary criticism. It says don't use Wikipedia, don't use Cliff Notes, Spark Notes, those types of things. for your secondary source. You're going to be looking for something using the library database or Google Scholars or some peer-reviewed journal article as your secondary sources. And what you want to do is find something that they say that backs up something that you're saying. Students have trouble with this sometimes. So what I like to tell them is that you're kind of building a court case with this. So you want to put together a court case that says these themes are present in these stories, or this character is unreliable because of these things that happen in the story. So you have to find evidence from the story, but you also need to find backup from other scholars, or if it was a court case, you would need to find other court cases that are similar to this one to decide what's happened in the past. So similar to that, you would find quotes and things about either the author, the story itself, stories like this one, literature in general, that do the things that this story does, and then use that expert's testimony to back up that this may be happening and in fact happening. The format is MLA essay format that you have been introduced to, and you'll submit it as a Word or a PDF document. Here is the structure. Follow this. There should be an introductory paragraph. It is an engaging introduction that clearly states the short story or stories that are being analyzed and provides any necessary background information for the essay. You want to assume that the reader's already familiar with the source, already know it. I've read these stories a bunch of times, so you don't have to summarize them. You include in that introductory paragraph a thesis statement that follows the guidelines from previous assignment folders about literary thesis statements. Then you have 4 to 5 body paragraphs. The body paragraphs you're using to write a cohesive argument about the short story or the stories. This information must support the thesis. So what you say in the thesis, you're going to build out in the body paragraphs. The things you talk about in the thesis, you will build out in the body paragraphs. Follow all of these instructions here. Multiple examples, evidence, and quotes from the primary source as proof. Use direct quotes and examples from the primary source in every body paragraph. Including quotes from the secondary sources as needed for additional support for your own analysis. It's not a summary or a book report essay, it's an analysis. So you're not summarizing the text, you are analyzing it. Don't just repeat what happens, but analyze what it might mean to the reader. Then you have the concluding paragraph. Follow these rules. There are usage and style guidelines here. And then below that, developing literary analysis paragraphs and some example essays as long as the rubric. So if we take a look at some of the example essays, what I want you to look at, open this PDF. I'm going to stop this share. Actually, I want to see what I'm sharing. So yeah, you're seeing that. Okay. So you're looking at what the essay will look like. This is annotated over on the right-hand side to tell you what's happening with these highlighted things. Look at this example thoroughly. I want you to look at also the works cited page. It's a separate page on its own. It doesn't happen at the bottom of the last page. To do this, you insert a page break after your last word, and that works cited page will always be on its own page. It is titled with your, numbered with your last name, and it's works cited, spelled exactly like you see it there, capitalized. And also look at the hanging indent for each one of these entries. I can tell that there are 4 sources in this paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, because they all have the hanging indent, which is the opposite of a regular indent in a paragraph. You do that by typing the information out, then highlighting the text and going up into paragraph formatting and format the paragraph to have a hanging indent instead of a regular indent. Google it. All right, so that's the example of one of the essays that you can look at. Back here, let's go back. Developing literary analysis paragraph. You'll see that there's some videos to watch here that talk about developing an introduction, writing the body paragraphs, and writing the conclusions. Take a look at that information as well. That's the E8 folder. That's the assignment, instructions, and resources. Make sure you click that as marked reviewed. Where you turn the actual essay in is here, E12, the final draft. If you take a look here, you'll see that here are the two links to submit to the writing portal and the tutoring center on campus. So if you can't make it to campus, use the tutoring writing portal. If you want to have an actual meeting, you can schedule that by going through the Jaguar tutoring portal. That is the E12. If we look back now at the F module, which is the last thing you'll do this semester, it is open. It is only one thing. Respond to the following prompt. What's your best advice for next year's student? Then next, pick one or two of the following prompts to round out your reflection. Type your responses to a Word document, submit it when complete. I'm looking for 300 words here, right? That's how the course ends. So that's what you have to do for this week. If you have any questions, let me know. Again, I'm available to meet with you if I need to. I will be on campus on Thursday doing some interviews. Other than that, I will be available anytime if you need to meet to discuss anything that you're concerned about or worried about as the semester ends. Please don't forget those grammar, punctuation, and style activities that are due Friday night. That's all I have for you this week. Good luck, and thank you for a great semester.